Hi, this is your brother Abel speaking from Manchester. I'm just here to share a word that's been stuck within my heart. It talks about tongue. It's in James chapter 3. So if I just read it for you, starting from verse 2, it says, "Indeed, we all make many mistakes, for if we could control our tongues, we would be perfect and could also control ourselves in every other way. We can make a large horse go wherever we want by means of a small bit in its mouth, and a small rudder makes a huge ship turn over wherever the pilot chooses to go, even though the winds are strong. In the same way, the tongue is a small thing that makes a grand speeches, but a tiny spark can set a great forest on fire." And I just wanted us to see what the Bible is comparing a tongue into. It's comparing it to, the things that we put in a horse mouth to control a horse. It's talking about the small rudder that controls the ship. It talks about how a small spark of fire can set a whole forest into, a flame. And it amazed me how, I was saying this to other youths where we said, we talk about mindset. We talk about how our mindset is key, and having that set right is what controls and determines our life or the path that we choose. But in James chapter 3, he's showing us to say, do you know what? The matter of fact is, if you can control your tongue, it's how you're clearing your path. It's what determines the path you're taking. Now, if we just go slowly, it says, verse 3, it says, we can make a large horse. In other words, a powerful, because horse is big, they're powerful. It said we can control them by small bits that's within their mouth. Now, you can dictate which way a horse goes just by what is in their mouth. And then he also compares it to a ship, which has a strong wind in a sea, but you can control that by the small rudder, and you can choose in whichever path that you want it to go. And the Bible's telling us in the same way, we have to choose to control our tongue. We have to choose in what we say, because that will determine the path that we take in life. Now, I found it very contrast to what I thought was very important. I'm not saying mindset isn't, but I'm just saying that I didn't think a tongue had much power or too much of authority to control your path, your destiny, and the path that you're taking. It also says it's like a tiny spark that can set a small thing into a big thing. Now, my message to you today is, what are you speaking out of your tongue? What's coming out of your tongue? Are you saying something positive, or are you saying something negative? The Bible clearly tells us that I have put life and death in front of you, and they're in a part of your tongue. Now, we can choose life or death by what we speak. And also, it talks about how if we can control our tongue, it's a showing of maturity in your spiritual life. Because regardless of where you are, I think it determines by what you say, and what you say becomes from what you're filled within. Now, our mouth will speak based on what is around us or what's within us, but that will determine based on how spiritually mature you are. And I think my message to you today is learn to control your tongue. And if you can do that, that means you're reaching to a certain extent of spiritual life. One of the statements that I really want to make today is that a tongue has no bones, but it can break a bone. In another sense, it's the smallest muscle that's within us, but it can do much harm than we actually think it could. Now, you could speak life into someone's life. You can speak healing into someone's life by just speaking positive, by just speaking the word of God. Or you can harm and destroy what is already made by just saying something that isn't positive, by just saying something that's negative. Now, my challenge to you today is that you need to learn to speak positive. You need to learn to speak the word of God. You need to learn to speak the language of God. And now, I don't want to go into depth of that one, but learn to fill your heart with the word of God, that your tongue will not find any other resource but only the word of God. And God says that my words are the spirit and their life. So if we're speaking his words, we're speaking life into existence. I hope this will reach you, and it will challenge you to do more than you probably thought what a tongue could do. God bless.